Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Niels Olderup. In case you don't know me, I'm coming from you from China. I'm here in Shenzhen, and in this channel we talk all about sourcing, selling and profiting from your private label products. Look at this beautiful day here in Shenzhen, China. You can see over there the little mountains in the background. That's Hong Kong over there. We got some fishing boats and we got some yachts on the other side. And that's really the contrast of China. It's on one side the traditional, the traditional and fishing and that kind of guys. And on the other side, the millionaires and billionaires of China that have been raising up through the last 1 or 2 decades here. Today, what I wanted to talk to you about is a backup supplier. Do you need a backup supplier? What is a backup supplier? Why would you want one? Should you have one? What's the best time to get one? What's the process? How does that look? So I was about to go for a quick run here, and I thought that I'll just talk to you about that because I got the question right now from someone in the comments. And by the way, if you have a comment, just anytime send me a question that you want to know in the comments here, and I'll answer that for you. I'll either make a video about it or I answer it in the comments. I read all of them. So make sure you let me know if you have any questions, because over the last 7 years now, we've sourced more than 1,000 products here in China. We have a whole team on the ground, and during the time we learned all lessons that there are. Most of those lessons we learned quite painfully in making big mistakes and making big issues, or in having big issues sourcing, producing products in China and communicating with suppliers. But over the years, we kind of learned our ropes and learned how to do it. So if you need help with that, just anytime schedule a call with me. Check out all of the things in the description anytime during this video so that you can get the biggest benefit out of it. Also check out if you like free stuff. If you like free stuff, we have a whole free guide to sourcing in China on this channel. So make sure to look at the videos. Check out the playlist. There's a playlist that's a full guide that's that's definitely better than any paid training that you can get out there. And I got some templates for you that you can download. You can watch it for free here within YouTube. There's no emails required. You can it's just up here for free. So talking about backup suppliers. Why do you need a backup supplier? Is it a good idea to have a backup supplier? When is the right time to get it for your business? Should you get one from the beginning, from the start, or should you wait for it? What's the process of getting one? How do you vet one? And how do you find a reliable backup supplier, right? So before we go into that, I kind of want to go over the process, or the whole process on finding your supplier initially, because there are certain steps that you have to take, and that relates also to your backup supplier. So during the first steps that you use to find your initial supplier, that's the moment when you can already find your backup supplier. So there you don't have to go twice through the process, because I know it can be a painful process to find a reliable supplier in the first place. So Niels, you're telling me I got to find 2 suppliers, and one is already hard, right? You have to have a backup supplier, and we're going to go about that in just a minute. So the usual process on how to find a supplier is, very first you contact multiple suppliers, you get quotations. And by the way, if you want to learn more about how to contact suppliers, just check out the videos here in the channel. Once you have quotations, you get samples from a selection of suppliers that you spoke with, that you went through. The next thing that you want to do is that once you have simple samples off the shelf, you don't want to overcomplicate it. You want to get simple samples. Don't get your logo on it. Don't do anything like that in the first place. You just want to know the quality of the supplier. So then you have the quotes and you have the quality. You got a selection of around 5 suppliers, and one of the suppliers is that supplier that you are going to be moving forward with. Okay, with that one supplier, when you're moving forward with that, I mean, you get your logo on the product, you get custom packaging, you get your quotes updated, you get multiple rounds of samples until your product is right, you place the order, all of that stuff, right? So who's going to be your backup supplier? Your backup supplier is going to be one of those other suppliers. So the moment when you get samples, you always have if you did a good job so far, you have more than one option where you'd say, oh, I'd like to go with that one, right? So you have a couple of options and you say, okay, I'm going to choose this one supplier here. But now you have 4 more suppliers where you can say, hey, their quality is also good. It's just the price is a little bit different, or the quality is just a tiny little bit worse, or 1 or 2 things here aren't perfect. So the one supplier that you go with, that's going to be your main supplier. But one of those other suppliers that you just get the simple sample from, that can always be your backup, right? So once you have that backup, it's so critical and it's so important. There are so many reasons and so many times where you really need a backup. For example, right now where coronavirus is going on in China, lots of companies are going out of business. What do you do if you have a supplier that's going out of business? You need to have a backup, and you need to have a backup fast. If you're selling Amazon products and you're getting out of stock, and that's something that not everyone knows, but you're getting punished hard by Amazon. They don't notice it. They don't let you know. You don't get an email with that, but you're not going to be able to rank up to the points where you have been. If you do it twice, no chance. If you ran out of stock twice in Amazon, there's no chance you can rank back up. Okay, so that's one of the parts. But also, obviously, it's a cash flow issue. Of course, if your supplier can't deliver, you can't deliver to your customers. Hence, you can't deliver. You can't collect funds and money and the things that we all want, right? The paper. You can't do that if you don't have a supplier that's able to deliver your products. Your supply chain is incredibly important. What happens if your supplier all of a sudden delivers bad quality, right? What if they change materials? What if there's any issue with them? What if they raise the price? What if they discontinue to do your product? There are so many reasons and so many things that can be happening. I tell you a horror story, right? There's one customer that we serve. We have a sourcing agency basically where we help people source products. And there's one supplier came to us and said, "Well, Niels, I'm a big shit." He said it that way because that wasn't trouble. That he was in deep stinky shit. He had a big problem because what he did is that he ordered multiple products with one supplier. So now what happened was that one supplier stopped working with him. And so that supplier said, "Hey, we got to double the price for all of your products." The supplier was going out of business. They just needed money. He had 100 products with one supplier. That was his whole business. He made 7 figures a year on those products. Now, imagine that. You work yourself up from 0 to 7 figures over 3 or 4 years. You don't take any profits out. You don't buy the fancy cars. You don't do anything with the money. You put it back in and you put it back in and you put it back in. You grow the business. You put your sweat and blood in there, and then all of a sudden your supplier stops delivering. Or worse, your supplier continues delivering, continues charging you money, but the quality is bad because the manager of the company changed and he thinks they need to save some material on the product costs, right? So having a supplier is critical. It's crucial that your supply chain is working. There are so many mistakes people do when it comes to supply chain, and then they come to us and expect to build up the whole supply chain again within a month, and that's not working. It takes months of work to build up a complete supply chain again. So to get a new supplier, to have them get samples from them again, to communicate with them, make a deal with them, get your product orders, get your product shipped. It takes huge time. That's hurting your cash flow. That's hurting your business. That's hurting your inventory. That's hurting everything that you've built. So the right time to find a backup supplier is already when you're sourcing the first time. When you find your suppliers, you have all of those kind of backups that you can look at, that you can go back to. And I keep saying that, but people just don't do it. Right? So is in the moment when you get the first time, when you find your supplier and you ordered your first batch of products, in that moment you should go back and you should go with the other suppliers and continue ordering from them samples that are customized as well. So once you place your order, once you have your products coming in that moment you go back to the first round of suppliers, where you go back and you say, "Hey, supplier number 2, supplier number 3, I want to have my product customized as well." You don't have to tell them that you already placed an order with someone else. You just need to get your product to be ready. So what you do is that you go back to them and then you say, "Hey, I need the product customized. I need custom packaging. I need all of the stuff that you've already done with your first supplier. But now you have time for it, right? Now there's no pressure on it. Now you have time. Now you can, negotiate with them harder because, you've already got your supplier. But to find your backup, you have to do that immediately once your first order is shipped with your first supplier. right? People always ignore that, and I promise you, you're also going to ignore that, because then you have other things on your mind that you want to do, that you want to build up your marketing, that you build up your branding, that you want to build up your things, which you should do. You should never source your own products. There are people that can do that for you. There are sourcing agents that can do that for you. There are companies like mine that can do that for you. By the way, if you want me to find you backup supplier, just shoot me a message in the link in the description here below. You can find a email address. Just shoot me an email and I'll jump on a call with you and see what we can do for you. So once you get your first order done, get a backup supplier, find your, work with one of the other companies that you already work with. And then if nothing happens, great. But if something happens, now the turnaround time to go back to your backup is so quick. You can just go back to your supplier that you have as a backup, and because they already made you samples, because they already created custom packaging, because they already put your logo on the product, now the only thing that you have to do is to say, hey, we delayed, I'm sorry that we didn't place the order 9 months ago. Now we're going to do it. Now we're going to go into it. Please help us produce. Please make us one more sample to confirm. But because they did all of the things already back then, now it's super easy for them to do it again, right? That's what you want. You want them to do one more sample and then you can place the order. That's going to take you 2 weeks instead of 2 months to place your order, right? So you need a backup supplier. Get a backup supplier. That's how you do it. Should you do it if you're in drop shipping? Well, maybe not, right? Maybe you can just switch to one of the others once you got your initial samples. But as soon as you're private labeling products, as soon as you have a logo on the product, as soon as you're ordering bigger quantities in bulk, you definitely have to have a backup. Don't rely on one source of your product. It can destroy your whole business overnight. You're relying on these suppliers so much. Your supply chain is crucial. Don't mess with that. And I know you just want to get out, you just want to quit your job, you just want to, get some products out, you just want to make some money. I get that, I understand that. But that doesn't mean you should gamble, right? Invest a little bit of time or hire someone that can do that for you. You need the security, you need to have the backup, all right? That's my message for you today. I'm gonna go do my run now. People sometimes, when I show them background here, they think I'm sitting somewhere in California or somewhere, maybe in Europe. It's incredibly beautiful to take a run here. So whenever you can come to China and the virus has blown over, make your way to China. Come here, visit the Canton Fair, visit your suppliers, build a relationship with them, or just come visit me. And I'm very happy you can book me. You can book me for a day or two, and I can show you around the city. We can visit your suppliers again. We can do all kinds of things. So whatever questions you have, or if you want to learn more about how we set up, how we launch 200 products on Amazon, or how we are setting up our e-commerce stores, or how we're getting traffic for free, how we're dealing with our paid ads to our e-commerce stores. If you want to get consulted, I do a lot of consulting with clients one-on-one or in groups. Just head out in the description. There's my email. Let me know what you need, and I'm here for you. I'm your friend now. I'm your sourcing pal from China. My name is Niels Older. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're new. If you're not new and you watched videos before and you didn't subscribe, come on. Now is the time. Subscribe to this channel now, and I'll catch you.